Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Deep Dive, where we take a stack of sources and really try to extract the most important nuggets of knowledge. Today, we're going to be diving into a pretty fascinating, I guess you could say, a turn of events for the Helium Network. Remember all that buzz
Yeah.
about them building out a decentralized 5G network? Well, one of their early technologies, CBRS, is being phased out. So we've got Helium's official announcements on this. We've got community discussions from Reddit. We even have a YouTuber's take on what this means for everyday users. So today we're going to be exploring why this shift is happening and what it might signal for the future of decentralized networks.
Yeah, this is a really interesting case study, I think, in how a network kind of adapts in real time. Remember, the Helium Network was all about using the power of the people to build out a wireless network. CBRS, which stands for Citizens Broadband Radio Service, was this new spectrum. It seemed like a perfect fit for their vision. The idea was that individuals could set up these CBRS radios and contribute to a decentralized 5G network.
I remember the excitement surrounding CBRS initially. It was supposed to be this game changer for Helium, allowing them to offload mobile data traffic from traditional carriers onto this network of hotspots. But then something interesting happened.
Yeah, they introduced HIP 139, a helium improvement proposal. Essentially, it's a way for the community to propose and vote on changes to the network. HIP 139 outlines a plan to phase out CBRS. The data offloading just wasn't working as efficiently as they'd hoped. And get this, only about 2% of the radios on the network were CBRS, yet they were gobbling up somewhere between 10 to 15% of the network rewards.
So low participation,
Yeah.
but high reward payouts. That doesn't really sound like a recipe for success. I can definitely see why the network would want to shift gears. But what about the people who invested in these CBRS radios? What happens to them?
Well, that's where HIP 139 gets really interesting. It outlines a pretty generous trade-up program for CBRS owners. They're offering free Wi-Fi hotspots to those who qualify. It's an attempt to make this transition as smooth as possible for the folks who bought into the CBRS vision early on.
Free Wi-Fi hotspots, huh? That sounds like a pretty sweet deal. But what exactly are the criteria for qualifying for this trade-up program?
Essentially, any CBRS radio that earned rewards between August 1st, 2024 and November 1st, 2024 is eligible. Helium wants to make sure they're taken care of, those who actively participated in the network.
Seems like they're trying to do right by the community.
Yeah.
But let's talk about what this means for the CBRS tech itself. Is this truly the end of the road for it? Or could it have a second life beyond the Helium network?
That's a great question, and I think that leads us to some of the broader implications of this decision. While CBRS might be sunsetting on the Helium network, it doesn't necessarily mean the technology itself is doomed. It could find new life in other applications, possibly even outside the realm of Helium.
So one door closes, another one opens? What are some of the alternative uses for CBRS tech that are being discussed?
Well, HIP 139 specifically mentions rural fixed wireless access and private LTE 5G networks as potential areas where CBRS could thrive. And to make things even more interesting, Helium is offering to reflash CBRS equipment back to its stock configuration.
So instead of throwing away perfectly good hardware, it can be repurposed. It's like giving these CBRS radios a second chance.
And for those who are curious to explore these other applications for CBRS, HIP 139 points to some valuable resources, like the Ongo Alliance and Magma. These organizations are actively promoting the use of CBRS technology and offer a wealth of information for those who want to dive deeper.
This is a great example of how a seemingly negative situation can actually open up new possibilities. But before we get ahead of ourselves, I want to know how the Helium community is reacting to all of this. I imagine there are mixed feelings about phasing out CBRS.
You're absolutely right. The community reactions have been quite diverse. And that's where things get really intriguing. We'll delve into those reactions and explore what they mean for the future of the Helium network. Right after a quick break, don't go anywhere. Remember to like and subscribe to The Deep Dive for more insightful explorations.
Welcome back to The Deep Dive. We just dove into Helium's decision to phase out CBRS. Now let's unpack the community's response. I imagine it's been a hot topic, especially among those who invested in CBRS radios.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. We see this playing out in the Helium Network subreddit. On one hand, you have CBRS owners who are understandably concerned. Some feel blindsided by the decision, while others are questioning the rationale behind it. It's a significant change, And it's natural for people to have strong reactions.
I can understand their frustration. They invested in a technology that's now being phased out. It's not just about the money. It's also about the belief in the technology's potential.
Exactly. And then there's a financial impact. Some CBRS owners invested a substantial amount, and now they're facing the choice of trading them in for Wi-Fi hotspots, or trying to find other uses, the SaaS fees, which some users prepaid beyond the March 1st, 2025 cutoff date, add another layer of complexity to the situation.
It's like adding insult to injury. But let's not forget the other side of the coin. The Wi-Fi folks. How are they responding to this shift?
They see it as a positive move, believing that focusing on Wi-Fi will streamline the network and allow it to grow more efficiently. We see the sentiment in comments where users are celebrating the move towards a more Wi-Fi-centric model.
It makes sense if you're a Wi-Fi hotspot owner. This shift could mean potentially higher rewards.
Yeah.
And a stronger network.
Precisely. They believe that redirecting resources away from CBRS will allow Helium to double down on their Wi-Fi efforts and accelerate the growth of Helium Mobile. They point to the recent successes of Helium Mobile's international expansion, particularly in Mexico, as evidence that the Wi-Fi strategy is working.
So it's less about phasing out a technology and more about focusing on a strategy that's already proving successful.
It's about focusing on what's working and what's best for the long-term health of the network. But let's zoom out for a moment and consider the bigger picture. What does this shift toward Wi-Fi signal for the future of decentralized networks? Could other promising technologies face a similar fate if they don't meet expectations?
That's a thought-provoking question. It highlights the challenges and complexities of building a truly decentralized network. It's not just about the technology, it's about adoption, usability, and finding the right market fit.
It's like having all the pieces of the puzzle, but some of those pieces just aren't fitting together quite right.
And they had to make a tough call. Sometimes pivoting away from a promising technology is necessary to achieve the bigger vision.
And let's not forget the human element behind all this technology. There are people who are passionate about building a better future, CBRS owners facing uncertainty, Wi-Fi owners excited about the future, developers and engineers constantly innovating.
This deep dive has been a reminder that technology is ultimately about people. It's about connecting, sharing, and building something together.
That brings us to a final thought for you, our listeners. The Helium Network's decision to phase out CBRS raises a fascinating question about the future of decentralized networks. Could other promising technologies face a similar fate if they don't meet expectations? How can we ensure that these networks are built on sustainability, adaptability, and community support? These are questions we all need to consider as we explore the possibilities of decentralized technologies.
It's a great point to ponder. But before we wrap up, we have one last piece of the puzzle to explore. Stay tuned as we dive into the potential future of CBRS technology and what it might mean for the broader tech landscape. Don't miss the thrilling conclusion to our deep dive into the Helium Network's evolving story. Remember to like and subscribe for more insightful explorations.
Welcome back to the deep dive. We've been unpacking the Helium Network's decision to phase out CBRS, and now it's time to explore what this all means for the future of decentralized networks. Yeah, this whole situation really raises some fascinating questions about the future of decentralized technologies in general. Could other promising technologies face a similar fate if they don't, meet expectations? What does this tell us about the challenges of building and maintaining these decentralized networks?
Yeah, it's like, we're witnessing a real-time case study, the evolution of a decentralized network.
Exactly. And one of the key takeaways here, I think, is the importance of adaptability. The Helium Network is demonstrating a willingness to shift gears, to move away from a technology that wasn't working as well as they'd hoped. This kind of flexibility is crucial, I think, for any decentralized network to thrive in the long run.
It's about recognizing when a course correction is needed and having the courage to make that change, even if it means disrupting the status quo.
Yeah, and let's not forget the role of the community in all this. The Helium Network has always prided itself on being community-driven, and the decision to phase out CBRS was ultimately made through HIP 139, a helium improvement proposal which was voted on by the community.
This is a powerful example, I think, of how a decentralized network can leverage the collective intelligence and decision-making power of its community.
It also highlights the importance of open communication and transparency. Helium has been very upfront about the challenges they were facing. With CBRS and the reasons behind their decision to phase it out, this kind of open dialogue is essential for building trust and fostering a sense of shared ownership within the community.
It's about creating a space where everyone feels heard, where their concerns are taken seriously,
Yeah.
and where they can actively participate in shaping the future of the network. Yeah.
And that brings us to a final thought for you, our listeners. As we move towards a more decentralized future, it's important to remember that these networks are not just about the technology itself. They're about the people who build them, the communities that support them, and the shared vision that drives them forward.
It's about recognizing that technology is a tool. And like any tool, it can be used in many different ways. The success of a decentralized network depends not only on the technology itself, but also on the values, the principles, the goals of the people who are using it.
Yeah, so as you continue to explore the world of decentralized technologies, ask yourself, what are the values that are driving these networks? What are the goals they're trying to achieve? And how can you contribute to building a more decentralized future that benefits everyone?
Those are some really great questions to ponder. We've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive, from the technical details of the CBRS phase-out to the broader implications for decentralized networks. We hope you found this exploration insightful and thought-provoking.
And remember, the conversation doesn't end here. We encourage you to share your thoughts and insights and questions in the comments below. What did you learn from this deep dive? What questions are still swirling in your mind? Let's keep the conversation going.
And of course, don't forget to like and subscribe to The Deep Dive for more insightful explorations into the world of tech and innovation. Until next time, keep learning, keep exploring, and keep diving deep.